Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? I am Jay Bosa, and we're going to have a small podcast today. Across from me, I have Mike. Mike, say hi.
How's it going?
The voice of reason. I am the woo.
Mhm.
And we're going to talk about something I posted on Facebook earlier today. While we're experimenting with our podcast series, we're just going to essentially, Mike, this is an exercise. We're going to have little exercises to get us to podcast shape. And those of you that listen to me on Facebook rant every so often, you're helping. So here we go. I posted this on Facebook today, Mike. I hope we could talk about this.
Certainly.
I will let you react as soon as I'm done with this post.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm just double checking here. Okay, here we go.
Mhm.
It seems like freedom of speech is being muffled by profit motives. Podcast topic: should social networking and communication platforms censor speech? Realize there is no due process of censorship. It's regulated by non-elected, non-government officials. Or, excuse me, non-government individuals. This is a yes or no question. This is what I was trying to get from people. It's like you can't like pick and choose what this is. This is a yes, they're allowed to censor, or no, they shouldn't be. You can't make any exceptions. That's how I ended that post.
Okay.
So I want your take first. I'll give you my take, and then we'll discuss what some people said. So, Mike, what's your take on that?
I think yes, anyone can be allowed to censor something. However, there are consequences when you do censor anything at the end of the day. And something that I've been thinking about recently, and I'm coming to this podcast very blind. I haven't really thought too much. I'm just kind of wing it and go from the cuff here. But the main reason why people wanted Alex Jones to be censored,
You're just going right for Alex
going
Jones.
right for it. Going right for
Okay,
it.
just
No,
go.
I'm going. I'm not gonna.
Can you well, give
No,
us.
but it's kind of related. So
You need to give us like a little bit of history, like so. If someone's coming to this whenever, you have to
Yeah.
explain what just happened, Alex.
So my understanding is that Alex Jones was banned from YouTube. Essentially, his channel was shut down, and he said it was because of hate speech, because he lied about Sandy Hook. He lied about there being like crisis actors for the Sandy Hook shooting, this and that.
That's the main nail in
That's
the
the
coffin.
main one that I
Yeah.
think really got him. And I totally understand why people would be like, we got to get rid of this guy. He's fucking crazy. I get it. I listened to Alex Jones in college a lot. Was it like 2003, 2004? Like I
After 9/11, right?
after 9/11, you were listening to Alex
Yeah.
Jones, especially when you're a hardcore documentary guy. I mean, I was into crazy documentaries, David Icke and Secret Space and whatever. And Alex Jones was a force of nature as a young man when you're trying to find out the truth, quote unquote. Like you listened to Alex Jones because he was telling you stuff that you never would have seen on CNN or something. I mean, the big one was the Bohemian Grove one. Have you seen that video
yes,
before?
yes, yeah.
So that was a motherfucker when that happened.
Yeah.
That was like, all right, this is weird. And I remember showing it to people who were very like normal conservative types, and they're like, yeah, that's fucking weird. So Alex Jones is a very complicated character. But going back to what I was saying,
Get that wire out of your. Like,
sorry.
yeah, bring it over a little bit more. That's there
is
you
that
go.
good?
That's a little better.
But Alex Jones is a weird one because the reason why they went after him recently was not really because of any other reason, except he's part of the alt-right, you want to say?
Yeah.
Like he's on the other team, so we have to get rid of him because he's on the other team. And that's kind of what I'm suspicious of as I'm getting older.
Well, I think that's a huge misrepresentation, because if you listen to Alex, he's all over the place.
Oh yeah,
But he probably just caught a feeling, like
Yeah.
like ooh, that this guy's not good, And right now the left has a very strong presence in media.
Sure.
But continue.
No, but you hit the nail on the head right there. You said it was a feeling. They had a feeling about Alex Jones because Alex Jones made them feel a certain way. And the same way like Michael Moore makes the right feel a certain way, therefore, oh, we should ban Michael Moore, we should shut Michael Moore up. And my philosophy is very simple. I'm no longer Republican or Democrat or liberal or conservative. I dismiss all of it as just nonsense. I just think it's all drivel. I would maybe identify myself as being 50% Republican, 50% Democrat. I'm right in the middle. I'm a radical centrist,
There it
radically
is. That's
reasonable,
what I wanted to hear.
whatever you want to hear.
Yeah, that's-
But I'm not part of the team anymore because I don't like team sports for that reason. Because I think maybe it was Jerry Seinfeld. I think he said that people who follow a New York team, they don't have like all the players are from New York.
yeah.
Like they're from all over the place. So you're essentially rooting for clothing. You know what I mean? Like that's what you're supporting. Like the guy from Boston is playing for the Yankees now. You know what I mean? Now he's okay now. I hated him when he was on the Red Sox, but now so we have this weird like team mentality, and
Yeah.
I just reject all of it.
So
I think it's all preposterous.
I want to put you back on track.
Sure.
And so we're getting at the whole censorship idea. What you're essentially establishing is that the left is dominant in media right now. The left has been growing.
Kind of.
It's a little bit more dominant. It's way more imbalanced. Like
Yeah.
left left feelings, liberalism. It's definitely stronger in the media.
Mm.
It almost feels like there's definitely a team of people out there. Like there's teen population, right? And right now, teen population is very liberal.
Yeah.
And so now they're coming after Alex Jones for what they're classifying is an alt-right thing. I didn't want to make this about Alex Jones, but I guess we're using it as
we can start there and go somewhere else.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're okay with censorship? Like it's a
Well,
private platform.
No, but here's the thing. I'm okay with censorship, but you have to be consistent. And if you're not consistent, that's when you really get your foot stuck in the mud in a lot of ways. Because if you don't tolerate Alex Jones, you can't tolerate ISIS on YouTube. You have to shut down all the ISIS accounts. Then you have to there's about 5,000 channels you have to shut down once you start shutting Alex Jones down. Otherwise, you're not being consistent at all with the platform.
Oh, I remember, dude. It was the doxing. Cuz like you can have freedom of speech, but you can't threaten or you can't like have a call to action to hurt people. And from what I understand, like the doxing is like, here's this person, go check for yourself kind of thing. And so that became the speech when I guess the doxing showed up became dangerous.
Well,
that's where you have to draw the line.
He was also saying something about grab your battle rifles and fight back against the left or something like that. I mean, there's a lot of crazy shit. He's Alex Jones. He says crazy shit. I mean, probably a lot of us have been listening to Alex Jones for 10 years. I haven't listened to him recently because I've stopped caring about a lot of things. But like when I used to watch him a lot, I soaked in a lot of Alex Jones. I have a relatively good idea of his personality and everything. And he's very much, I think he identified himself as a paleo-conservative, and he was all in libertarian, and then he was a Ron Paul guy for a while, which is why I was really into him back when Ron Paul was rocking it. And then he went for Trump, and then he kind of like, it's like, all right, cool, but I mean, I don't want to talk too much of the election because it's just been done to death, and it's a waste of time.
We got to go to censorship, Mike.
But
we got to keep a track on censorship.
No, but
we'll
censorship is done in private companies and in the government. There's regulation of speech. There's regulation of a lot of things going on. But I think a lot of people get frustrated when you tolerate in one man what you condemn in the other. That's when it gets really frustrating for people because it's like, well, why does so-and-so have a platform but Alex Jones doesn't? Or why does ISIS have a YouTube channel? Like, there's a lot of crazy shit on YouTube. Like, you got to start banning en masse.
Yeah.
But then where does that end, though? Like, where do you stop the censorship? And that's when it gets really weird.
I think you made a good point when you said it has to be consistent. Essentially, when you make terms of service, let's say, you say what you can and cannot say.
Yeah.
If you don't want politics anywhere on your platform, then politics shouldn't be anywhere on the platform. Yeah, like it's almost like a forum post. Or I don't know if you've been on forums. Or like, stay on track, guys. Stay on track. You know, like we started with censorship and we're talking about dicks. You know, like
it always goes to dicks. Though. Come on, let's get real here.
But like it's in staying on track with censorship. I'm losing my train of thought, man. There's so much going on. You're talking about Alex Jones
I'll
and everything.
freestyle a little bit more. So the problem is that who makes the decision of what to censor? And a lot of time it's based on the way it makes that person feel. And it becomes this abstract thing like, I just don't want this guy around because of how he makes me feel. But then other people don't feel the same way about Alex Jones that you would feel.
Yeah.
So it's like...
I think I just remembered, Mike.
Go ahead.
Because I was talking on the Facebook post about profit motive. Okay? Now there's profit motive on Facebook, on Twitter, on all these social platforms, on YouTube. They have advertisers, right? And they don't want to upset people. Because if you upset people, they're not going to watch videos, and they're going to condone you for allowing that speech to happen. So in terms of private, like a private company with the public on it, they're protecting their own profit interest, and that's where the problem is.
Yeah.
Right? Remember the whole Roseanne Barr thing. Yep. Roseanne Barr said something on Twitter. Twitter is not responsible for Roseanne Barr or what Roseanne Barr says. However, people... I don't know if they went after Twitter, but Twitter felt a certain type of way. And wait, it wasn't Twitter. It was the network. The network fired her. Yeah. I don't know if Twitter. Her Twitter account's probably there.
Nowadays.
Yeah,
There's 7,000 things happening every day. Like I don't know about so much going on right now that I got to play catch up and all this shit. But what you said kind of reminded me of. I was watching Real Time with Bill Maher years ago. This was many moons ago. Keith Olbermann was on, and he was talking about Rupert Murdoch and Fox News and everything. And he essentially said to Bill Maher that Fox is strictly to make a profit.
Yeah.
Case closed. So if Fox made more money being a liberal network, they would be a liberal network because they just care about ratings and money and all this type of stuff. Which is okay. I mean, probably. I mean, I assume the worst in people. I assume that people are just out it for themselves. They want profit, they want money. It's about selfishness, it's about ego and tribalism and greed and all this crazy shit. So it doesn't surprise me that he would say that because it's a pretty good guess on what Rupert Murdoch's motivations were back in the day. So right now it seems that people are at war with themselves because it's like, do we focus solely on profit or do we try to influence people positively or negatively? And everybody's very confused about what to think right now. And on top of that, human nature is not prepared to have the internet. We're not there yet. The internet should have came out 20 years from now and we probably would have been okay. But it's happening now with all this shit going on, and it's making everybody completely insane because you're not supposed to know about all the bad news in the world at the same time.
Yeah, it's very overwhelming.
You're not
it's hard to keep up.
You can't keep up. You can't. You're frustrated. People are becoming antisocial. There's so many fucking problems right now with the internet and what it's doing to people. And the censorship thing is kind of an example of what's going on. And it's kind of a strange thing because people who listen to Alex Jones, some of them don't actually disagree with him or agree with him. They're just kind of being entertained,
yeah.
you know? And I think a lot of people on the left listen to Alex Jones was like, let's see what the right-wing crazies are doing now. And then a lot of people are watching Michael Moore movies on the right saying, let's see what these fucking commie pinko fucking, blah, blah, blah.
Mike, you're really getting into it. It's almost confusing because now we have to dig through Alex's content really to come up with these examples.
Yeah, I mean.
I wanted to bring up a point where Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, these are all public forums. It's a private company that essentially invites the public in. So if we can kind of make this a real space, like it's a building, it's a really big building, and a lot of people come into the building.
Is that about YouTube still or Facebook?
All of them, right? These are platforms. We're talking about platforms on the internet, right? They're virtual voices that they're all invited in to contribute.
Sure.
And then, like, the terms of service keep changing, and I don't know keeps up
with
terms
of service.
Right.
Terms of service?
Did you read the whole thing, hit agree and accept and continue?
I printed it out and I highlighted it and I Googled shit. No, nobody does.
Nobody
does
that,
out of
right?
my face. Go ahead.
Like so you're on, like we almost need a blanket term because you're on a platform that you feel like you're speaking freely on, and then all of a sudden, you hit a spot of profitability. Because, I mean, if everyone loved the story, right? Like maybe if it wasn't as offensive. So let's say like saying that. Let's just say theoretically in a different world, what Alex said wasn't as offensive. Or maybe it was something to like really look into. Like he's got a decent counterpoint rather than being like horribly offensive and threatening. Or maybe it could have been just that content got taken down, but now he's removed from platforms. When you first enter that building, you feel like you're entering a public forum. But it's actually a private building with a lot of the public in it.
Yeah.
I feel like the problem is there is no public forum, if that makes sense.
Well, keep going on that. What do you mean by that?
Well, okay, so let me make a theoretical website. Let's call it Soapbox.
Gotcha.
Chat.com, right? Soapbox.
Let me look it up. Okay, yeah, you're fine.
All right, so you go to soapboxchat.com, and in their terms of service and their creed or their company policies, you could say whatever you want. Just understand that people are going to judge you, you know? But that's it. That's the only punishment you're going to get. You're going to get judged for, if you're an asshole, you get judged for being an asshole. If you feel like, see, they can draw the line where you threaten people, but if you just want to call people out for being an asshole, that's your freedom of speech. And that's a platform that could be a private company inviting the public in and saying, hey, you can say whatever you want. We're going to try to make this work. We're going to try to be profitable with letting everyone say what they want.
Okay.
It doesn't exist. If you think about it, think of your California tech companies, right? You have Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. They're all California-based companies, which is very left.
Nope.
That's what we're stuck with. That's our public forum, but it's a private company.
Yeah,
Thoughts?
I mean, here's the maybe not the problem or something to kind of add to what you're saying. I mean, Jordan Peterson is obviously the best. He's phenomenal. He's flawed. I disagree with him a lot, but I think as a person, he's great. And he always talks about how you're supposed to express yourself just to figure out what you think. Like, just express yourself and then admit, oh, I was wrong about that, or I was right about this. And when you don't let people just express themselves freely, they don't know when they're wrong because they internalize everything and they're afraid to express certain things or whatever. I think people should talk more and they should express themselves more. Like, here's my big maybe issue with like what Rogan is doing right now is he's still doing like one-on-one interviews with Jamie. He's not doing like more threesomes. I want to see like Jimmy Dore was on the other like
I
week
love
ago.
Jimmy Dore. Dude,
Great podcast.
Great podcast.
And he was on with Henry Rollins, right?
Yeah.
And they were just missed each other. It's like,
Oh.
well, let's do an hour and a half with Henry Rollins, and then bring him in, bring Jimmy Dore in, have a seat. Let's do an hour and a half with Henry Rollins and Jimmy Dore talking to each other, and then maybe we'll do an hour at the end with just Jimmy Dore to respond. But like people need to engage more because Henry Rollins is a specific example. He's in his own bubble. Like he's very isolated from a lot of people. So you want him to talk to people. Like he's an introvert, so let him talk to an extrovert. Like have a conversation with a guy who likes hanging out with his family. Like, but you see my point? Like I want people to just get fucking Alex Jones in the same room with. Take it back. Who do you want to see Alex Jones in a room with talking?
Man.
Let's pick.
Dude, I was just thinking about this earlier too. I'm like, if Alex Jones could, like, I want Alex Jones to, like, if you can. Rogan was talking about, like, if you can get a dead person from the past and then bring them back and then have someone have a conversation with them, it's like it would be awesome to have like Alex Jones, Theodore Roosevelt, Leonardo da Vinci.
No,
put them all in the same room.
That'd be a weird conversation, Barbosa. Yeah. But like, let's talk about someone alive right now. Who do you want to put them in a room with Alex Jones for a 3-hour podcast with Rogan moderating? Like who would you want in there? Let's try to figure out a good answer here.
Man, because whoever I want to put in that room is going to get in big trouble and probably not want to talk to him.
But that's the point. Like people don't want to sit down with a guy who has an opinion. He has a perspective. He's wrong about a lot of things. Like let him say it, and then say, "Here's why you're wrong." And then the person asking them could say, "You know what? You're wrong about this, but I'm also kind of wrong about that." And then we grow, and then we evolve, and then we get smarter and better. You know what I mean? Like Noam Chomsky. Put Noam Chomsky in a room with Alex Jones for 3 hours. See what the fuck happens.
Yeah. See, you know what? You're getting to the point where a lot of people on Facebook, like they have their camps, not just Facebook, any social networking. They have their camps. They have their thoughts, right? And they want to dismiss everything else. They don't give it a chance. Like I can't tell you how many times on my Facebook I try to like get past that, and I say, "Dude, I'll call you. You want to talk? Like get on TeamSpeak, get on Discord, get on Skype. I will call you and talk about this. I change my mind." I'm giving people the opportunity to change my mind.
Sure.
But they don't have time for that. It's like, no, you're already stupid.
People have time for Facebook. They don't have time to talk for 3 hours.
No. But then you shouldn't be projecting. Like, so this is the problem. I'm someone reasonable. I want to reason with people. I'm projecting an idea. Mm-hmm. There's rebuttals. I'm ready to discuss them. But if I hit a wrong mark, let's say I have a crazy idea, and it's dismissed, and I'm censored, I'm wiped off.
Yeah.
That discussion never happens where people can listen. See, that's the thing. Facebook, Twitter, they're all public forums. You have easy access to people, and they're profiting. Those platforms are profiting because they have easy access to all these people. But if I'm dismissed, like let's say Alex Jones is dismissed, he has his little corner of the internet on his website. Now you have to drive traffic there to continue the discussion.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
It's a huge problem. I mean, it's a weird thing because if you've ever been in like a room doing something creative and you have an idea that's kind of crappy, like you say it and you're like, oh, that wasn't a good idea. But then someone might freestyle like, well, that's not a good idea, but what about if we did this? And like, oh, that's kind of a good idea. And then it becomes a great idea.
Exactly.
So you have bad ideas become awesome ideas, but you only can get there if you have a free expression of ideas. It's like writing a first draft of a screenplay. Just let's freestyle, everybody's on the open, and then all of a sudden we hone the ideas to something good. But you don't get there if like, well, I can't talk about that because that's a shitty idea. No, talk about it. Tell me your shitty idea. It might turn into something great. So Alex Jones, unfortunately, for a lot of people, has been right about a lot of things the past 10, 20 years.
And that's what I was going to get at. Like, Alex Jones' speech, like, okay, sometimes he's just crazy,
of
right?
course.
He's going to hit or miss.
And let me interrupt you for a second. They always make the montage of him at his craziest to dismiss him. That's not how this works, guys. Go ahead.
So, like, he has crazy thoughts, but then he has good, productive thoughts. Yeah. There's things that he'll find, and you're like, I'm going to go look into that. I can't tell you the documentary hole that I've gone on Netflix and all these other sites because he started something, right? So he's starting a discussion. He's starting a thought process. That's a powerful thing. Essentially, if you're familiar with establishment politics, that powerful thing, I think, is getting a lame excuse to get shut down. I mean, this is legit. I mean, like talking about Sandy Hook, and if he did dox and if he did say some threatening things while he was like getting crazy like he does,
Yeah.
okay, they have to dismiss it. Cut that out. How do you smack someone on the wrist? How do you? But banning him from platforms and taking him out of public forum. It's supposed to be public forum. You agree, right? It's
Yeah.
supposed to be public. It's too much.
Yeah. I mean, and the frustrating thing about someone like Alex Jones is that the few things that he gets right is combined with a lot of things he gets wrong.
Exactly.
And then he never admits when he's wrong, ever. Have you ever heard Alex Jones apologize?
No.
Listen, everybody, I was in a really bad spot. I was confused. There's no interdimensional child molesters from Venus. They don't exist. I'm sorry. He never admits when he's wrong, ever.
He's still trying to prove it.
He's still. Hold on. We gotta research that a little bit more about the interdimensional child molesters. Like he won't just say I was wrong. I'm sorry. Let's move on.
I'm so sorry for the people that we're introducing to Alex Jones.
Yeah.
And you say that.
We're
talking about censorship, and we already went to.
The early reason we're talking about this is because what happened with Alex Jones, and what's going to happen in the next. Who knows what's going to happen in the next 2 months?
Yeah.
People are going to be censored all over the place. But my ultimate point is this: let people have an exit strategy for their ideas. Let them say, I said this and I was wrong and I'm sorry, and then move on. Because that's how it's like the scientific method.
You're trying to change the way people think. Like that's like, okay, give someone a chance, like give them an out. But we're talking about terms of service. We're talking about a platform. We're talking about rules. We're talking about removing someone's voice. We're not trying to reason. See, you're going to the person and you're trying to reason with an individual. Let's say listening to us.
Yeah.
Give me an out. We're saying all this, and maybe I said something stupid, and I'll realize that in the future, and I want to apologize and flip my view.
No,
you're saying give me an out.
No,
Forgive that person for saying that, essentially, right?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. YouTube should invite Alex Jones back to YouTube. Like, here's how you get back on YouTube. Is Sandy Hook a conspiracy? Is there any evidence for that? No, of course not. It's like, okay, you're wrong about that. What else are you wrong about?
Oof.
Well, let's not get crazy here, but like
he's got a lot to go.
He's got a lot to go through.
Yeah, but see, that's a trial, and I think that I heard that on the Rogan podcast with Dor.
Yeah.
It's like there's no, they're not quoting him. They're not going to take him to some sort of trial. There's no transcript. There's
no. But that's an interesting point. Should YouTube have a trial to earn Alex Jones back to YouTube? That's the ultimate question. Like their own little trial. Like everybody talk it out and say, okay, what's the story here? Videotape it. Broadcast it to the world, and then we go from there. That's the way it should be.
That's what I'm getting at with public forum, because they invited the public in, and so they should do things that the public does. So if there's a threat in real life, if I threatened you and someone heard that I threatened you, they call the police and they need to get evidence that I threatened you. That's malicious, and then I should be in handcuffs until we figure it out, right?
Sure.
That's the public. We're actually in a public space, acting as public citizens, and there's due process. When you invite the public onto a private network and you hit them with all this terms of service shit, but they're acting like they're in public until certain things happen, that's where I feel like the problem is, and we need more communication up front. Like what are we doing on this platform?
I think Penn Jillette said it best. He goes, solve all the problems you can with more freedom. More freedom. If you have more freedom, you'll have a better outlet or outcome rather than less freedom. So generally, I think that make it freer, and talk it out, and I still want to see more of Alex Jones, even though I haven't really paid attention to him for quite some time because he never interested me. But when I was in my formative years, he was an important figure in my life. Like I really liked having all that. It was kind of attractive in a way to have this forbidden knowledge that he was telling you about. It was kind of sexy, like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Like he put me on establishment politics.
Sure.
Like if it wasn't for Alex Jones, he pieced what the establishment is, and the establishment is a really difficult thing to explain to people that don't know it exists, or they want to deny that it exists. So if it wasn't for him and that information, I wouldn't have been able to figure all these establishment things out and everything that goes with it.
But there's a lot of tribalism. I'm going to say that word all the time, but a lot of tribalism with what's going on right now because a lot of people
it's the biggest problem we have.
Oh yeah, it's the worst. But a lot of people just say Alex Jones is part of the right, alt-right, whatever you call it.
And he's not.
Not really. I mean, he's very anti-war, consistently anti-war, which is pretty impressive because he's this right-wing figure. But since for 10, 20 years, he's been the anti-war guy, which is kind of like, well, we don't need you anymore, so let's just dismiss you now. But I mean, my point was this: Alex Jones deserves a voice. He can have his privileges reinstated by YouTube Like this is kind of the direction that I
It's
think
multiple
that you're
platforms.
pretty much encouraging
It's
me, and I like that.
Okay.
But I think he should get his freedom back, and I think people have a problem with total freedom or no freedom, where like you can earn
Yeah.
your freedom, like to express yourself, and that's kind of a good thing about the internet is like XP points. You get XP, you get likes, and the more XP and the more likes you get, the more voice you have. If you look at the most popular videos on YouTube, there's like 2 billion views of like Gangnam Style or whatever it is,
Oh
right?
gosh.
That doesn't make Gangnam Style the greatest song ever, but
I said, "Oh gosh," like wondering what your example was, but good.
but yeah, but it's the truth. Like you're allowed to have a voice if you have the likes and you have the views. Like okay, but then after that you say we're and also a good song is subjective. A good personality is subjective. Everything is subjective. There's no truth really. But Alex Jones should have his voice back. He should be on YouTube. He should be on Facebook. And he should have a way out of his shitty ideas. And you don't have a way out when you're censored, though. That's the great irony
you
of this.
don't. You don't. Like it's like there's again there's no regulation. There's no due process to bring him back, or bring him back to all these platforms. And actually, because it's the first time, I think the terms of service are being highlighted, or like, okay, this to me this is interesting because a private company, when you draw it out, it's a private company with a lot of public in it, and I think now we see that. That's essentially that's what I'm trying to make my friends see. That's what I was driving on my Facebook post, was that the public is in a big private space. Maybe we want to go to a more public space and talk about this stuff. But then that's like, what's the next Facebook? You want to go back to MySpace? Like,
that would be a great irony if MySpace came back roaring as the bastion of freedom.
It's a soapbox space, you know?
That would be so awesome. Imagine that MySpace comes back strong. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, but it's like, is he going to go to Venmo? Not Venmo, excuse me, Vimeo. That's what I want to say. Vimeo, like, Vimeo is a private platform, and now that he's got his reputation, they say no. But where's the company that's like, you can say whatever the fuck you want over here. Come on over, Alex. Like, we're not going to censor you. You're just going to be judged. That's the worst thing that can happen to you, is that you're going to get judged.
It's kind of funny because it's like the free market is kind of figuring everything out when the left is against the free market, but they use the free market to get what they want.
You're making my head hurt. Like, you're absolutely right.
It's deliciously ironic in my opinion, like what's going on right now, because that's why I think that the team sport thing is so preposterous, because the right and the left are just constantly hypocritical with their own ideas. Or just that's why I just gave up on the whole thing. I'm like, I'm done with all you guys. Like, you guys have no idea what you're talking about. 1, you guys don't have any consistency to your ideas. 2, and 3, you're having these crazy double standards for yourselves. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to be, I don't want to go on a crazy tangent.
Yes.
I always do that.
I'll try to keep you on.
Keep me on point here.
Yeah.
But if you want to have a ability for a private company to censor, fine. But when your team, your person gets censored, don't be mad about it after that. You can't be like, well, we don't want this guy to be censored. It's like, well, we already censored Alex Jones, so why you have a problem with? Well, that's different. It's not different.
No, it's not different.
It's not different. Yeah. And that's my ultimate frustration with everybody right now, is that maybe it's childish to try to expect consistency from people, because people are just inherently not consistent with anything. Like, people are all over the place. But I think that's what the experiment that is the internet should go for, is like, let's try to be consistent once in a while. Let's try to just have one rule that applies to everything. And once we figure out the rules that applies to everything, those are the really good ideas.
Yeah.
You know, my favorite example is the golden rule: treat others like you want to be treated. And there's a picture online you can Google where it just shows how every single society that has any hint of success has always adhered to the golden rule in one way, shape, or form. You know, from Taoism to Islam to Christianity to whatever. Anyone has that idea. That's why it's a good idea and it works. You start there and you go from there, and you evolve it to something better or worse or whatever. But if you just don't have that platform, you're not going to figure out what the good ideas are.
So you're trying to change thoughts. Like, for instance, you and I, we can listen to anything. We'll listen to it as a horrible, like, there could be some group saying they're going to. I almost don't even want to say it. I'm scared because I feel like it's going to be weaponized against me or quoted in the future.
No, go for it.
But they'll say something horrible, and we'll hear it. And like, why is that person saying that? We begin a discussion by listening.
Yeah.
But if you never have the chance to listen, if it's never put out there, that discussion never starts, and the problem grows.
Well, let me maybe play devil's advocate a little bit here,
Sure.
because
We have to do that.
no,
It's only you and me.
yeah. But like I find myself like unsubscribing to YouTube channels that
Mhm.
I just don't care about anymore. Like the Young Turks, I listened to for a while,
I did too.
and then I
Yeah.
just unsubscribed, and I'm like, I give up on these people. Like I'm done. And for a lot of reasons, which I won't get into, but it's one of those things where I'm realizing that I'm my own hypocrite. I'm being a hypocrite here because they just made me feel bad when I watched them. You know what I mean? Like, for one reason or another, like I was watching,
Please elaborate. Just give me one example, or not an example. Why did you feel bad?
but like it was just the whining and the whinging, and like it was just like I didn't feel good watching them anymore. So it was just like this depressing, just awfulness all the time. And it wasn't even like provocative subjects anymore. Just, and who knows, maybe they got better this year.
I haven't listened to a while. I'm
But I just
guilty.
stopped caring. But like even like Michael Moore movies, I don't really watch. I watched like Bowling for Columbine back in the day, which I thought was interesting. But then it was like I just stopped caring about Michael Moore, and he was this figure that I kind of aspired to be. Like I wanted to be a documentary filmmaker, and I made the mistake as a kid, as a college kid, where I wanted to be super objective about everything, and that makes you kind of lonely because you don't really have a team anymore. You don't have a tribe. You don't have a rah-rah anything. And you're just always trying to be objective, where you just paralysis by analysis, essentially. You just like you don't go anywhere in life when you don't just compromise once in a while. And Michael Moore is just an example of like a documentary that was mainstream and that got theatrical attention or whatever it was. But now I just don't give a shit about Michael Moore for a lot of reasons. I don't give a shit about Young Turks, and
Yeah.
like, and even like when I see a video that I just go like, I just don't care,
Well, I think
you know?
there's another. I think communication is trendy, like the way the communication is being delivered, and the topics and its presentation. Like there's definitely like DVDs, and getting DVDs was a thing, and passing them around, and exchanging them with your friends. That was a form of communication. Like you're
Sure.
watching a movie, and you're like, I like this movie, here you go, and I like this movie, here you go, we'll trade. There's trendy communication, and then there was a time for Michael Moore, like when this whole Netflix thing and things on demand, and there was the internet, and you could download it and you could stream it.
Yeah.
And now we're still refining it. And here we are podcasting. You and I are podcasting. And right now, I love listening to podcasts. A lot
yeah.
of people on the internet love listening to podcasts.
I prefer podcasts to most other media. I mean,
Yeah.
Game of Thrones the exception because I still love
Yeah,
Game of Thrones.
I'm with you on that, yeah.
But like aside from like 10 things out there, like TV shows or movies or whatever, I mean, I'm way more interested in Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson on the next Joe Rogan podcast than I am for Avatar.
Yeah, I was trying to explain to my
And
coworkers.
I don't care about Avatar.
I was trying to explain to them that I think nonfiction now is way more interesting because it's real.
Yeah.
And we have the communication to deliver all this non-fictional information, and it's making this wonderful story right now.
Yeah.
And that's why we need like the podcast. That's why like we kind of need Alex Jones. He's finding interesting things. Yes, he's crazy. Take the hit or miss, but you can't censor him. You should have him on an open platform, or because like the people that are on Facebook and only on Facebook, he's gonna disappear unless they go to his website and fucking try to convince someone that's never heard of him to go to his website and get this little bit of information. It's too daunting.
Nah,
That's why if you're gonna invite the public in, if it's going to be a public forum, and this is again why I made this Facebook post, I wanted to see if anybody would say it. I'm going to read it. We have our buddy, he said everything I wanted to say. But if you're going to have a public forum, you have to service the public as the public, not pick and choose. Like and you kind of, once you pick and choose once, then you're condoning. But if you never pick and choose, like if I made a platform right now that said you can say whatever the fuck you want, I'm just hosting your data. I'm not going to read your data. I'm just hosting your data. Say whatever the fuck you want, and the worst thing that's going to happen to you is you're going to get judged. Right?
No.
If that's, like, it might not be the most popular platform. Because I think also communication now is trendy with mainstream. Like, it used to be cool to be innovative. Like, cool, like you.
That was such a cool thing. Innovation, man.
Like you would have like a cool thing and it would grow. Like make something new and it would grow. But like even the video game industry, which I come from, like how many Call of Duty? Like people are finally getting sick of Call of Duty. It's not trendy anymore. It's not new. Like it's we're suffering from innovation. But the thing is, not innovating and appealing to the mainstream is profitable.
Yeah.
It just.
I mean, something else to bring up, and there's another Jordan Peterson concept which I love. People have to understand that the reason why America actually works as a country is because we have ultra left-wingers and ultra right-wingers. That's the only reason why this country is awesome.
I really hate that there's just a binary.
Yeah, no, but like,
But yeah, at least there's
the polar opposites.
Yeah.
Like, you need to. This country is so fucking cool because you do have vegans and then people living in Wyoming doing like cattle ranching. Like, that's fucking awesome. Like, people don't realize that. Like, people are silly in a sense that they want like their team, the opposite team, the rival team, to go away. Like, you don't want your rival team to go away. What the fuck would the Red Sox fans do if the Yankees just weren't a team anymore? Like, we're not going to be a team. We resigned. We closed up shop. But like, what the fuck am I going to do next year? Like, I have no purpose in life, and you'd have depression all around. So I mean, you should have people fighting, quote unquote, like in the intellectual space, but not fighting for real. And we're seeing that now. We're seeing actual violence the past few years. And that's fucking dangerous. That's really, really bad.
And that's the tribalism that you were talking about before.
Yeah.
Like, it's getting dangerously tribal. But it's like everybody, we live in a rough time.
Yes and no.
Yes and no. Yeah, it's the most interesting time. There's plenty of opportunity, but yet there's also a lot of people suffering, right?
Yeah.
And when you have all this access and all this information to all these people and all these different groups, because if you think about it, we have the most information to know who's around us. You know, you can go over a state and know what to expect.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, back in the 90s before the internet or the 80s, like you'll drive across the country and it's like different worlds.
Yeah.
But now you can kind of, you know what to expect. And what I'm getting at is like there's a ton of diversity that's finally dealing with each other. And we all know that things aren't great. Are you with me on that? Like,
yes and no.
Can we say, like, okay, name one thing that's great, because my point is the economy's, a lot of people are suffering with this economy.
Sure.
Things are bad, and they want to blame someone.
Well, the culture of victimhood and resentment, I just don't go along with. I mean, perspective is everything, in my opinion. And 2018 is a weird year because there's a lot going on.
We've had a lot of weird
stuff going around. But people have to just kind of take a step back. This is an amazing time to be a person. I mean, if you go camping, I think you can vouch for me on this one, right? Go out in the wilderness. I know, that's why I brought it up. But if you go out in the wilderness, it's rough out there. If you don't have a bed and shelter, and you're just in nature for a long period of time, like, it's fucking horrible. And that was life for millions of years, was just being out in the wilderness. And now we're like kind of complaining in this weird way about like laptops and air conditioning and internet and all these amazing things that we kind of take for granted because we don't know what it's like to be without that stuff.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm getting at, because we have now all this information to know how life is.
Yeah.
If you didn't, like, you know, I love Back to the Future 3. If you've ever seen that
movie.
When they finally go into the Wild Wild West, there's like his family, it was by themselves on this plot of land with nothing around them, and that was it. Right?
Yeah.
So they didn't have all this information like, oh, these people are living like this over here, and these people are living like this over here, and they have running water, and they have the internet. Like, we have all this information now, and what we're trying to do is like kind of equalize. And when we're suffering, it's like, well, they're not suffering, so why?
I don't know. I'm very torn.
What I'm trying to get at, that's I think where the tribalism is, where like you see something good and you don't have it. How did they get it? And what do I got to do to get like? I think that's where the diversity is, because there's so much of it. Like you want to pick and choose all these different things, but essentially, if all that diversity kind of came together in a discussion, holy shit, it's starting to make sense, right?
Unbelievable.
If there was less diversity, because we all started picking and choosing the best ways to treat each other, things would get done, and there would be less tribalism because everybody's kind of benefiting each other. Did that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
I feel like I got somewhere.
You got somewhere. But I mean, this is more Jordan Peterson stuff. Where I mean, let me gather my thoughts here. Like let me do the Jordan Peterson where we take that deep breath and go like, you know. But there's no such thing as equality.
No, there is. I agree with you. We try.
People need to forget that concept. It doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense. The whole reason you get up in the morning is because you're finding things that are unequal. You know what I mean? Like you're saying, this is better if I go and get gas here as opposed to get it here because they're different prices, and you figure everything out. You're not going to be equal. You're not going to be equal with where you get gas, right? Yeah. Doesn't make any sense. Like, as a small little example, there's nothing equal about where you get food.
No.
Some food is better, some food is worse. Everything is unequal. So forget about the equality concept. It doesn't mean anything. Equal opportunity, sure.
Yes.
I'll give anyone a day in court on where to get food, what clothes to wear, whatever. It doesn't matter.
They were
But
talking.
then you're judging. You're you're judging after
I
that.
want to get to you because they were saying equality of outcome, right? Like essentially, we're trying to get to equality of outcome, which we just have to agree is never going to happen.
No, it's the most destructive thing in nature, and not nature, in human nature,
In human nature.
that has killed hundreds of millions of people. Equality of outcome, and like this is Jordan Peterson stuff, and we have to kind of admit that and move past this because people are still caught up in equality, and it doesn't work as a concept. It's just preposterous. Equality of opportunity is common sense.
Yeah.
Give me a break, but you can't have equality at the end of whatever you're doing because it just makes people crazy and silly. And that's another thing that he brought up. He said that if you have a town or something where there's a huge discrepancy of wealth, right? Some people are super wealthy while some people are super poor. That's where you have high crime rates because angry young men are resentful and everything. But if everybody's poor, everything's kind of chill, and if everybody's rich, everything's kind of chill. When you have the huge disparity, that's when things get really weird. And we have that now in this world, and the internet is showing the discrepancies going on and the inequality. People get frustrated, which I understand, and they lash out.
You
There
just
go.
said it for me.
Yeah, yeah,
They have
exactly.
the information to see those discrepancies.
Yeah. So I mean, that's where we are right now. So it's like, what do we do about this?
Well, I think we all need to calm. Everybody just calm
Everybody just
down.
calm down.
We have to talk.
Yeah.
So don't blow your friends off. Understand
Yes.
where they're coming from. If they're allowing you to talk, get into a conversation because that's the only way it's going to happen. You won't get on the platform and talk to thousands of people, but if you can just make sense to one person, it might be worth it.
Just say no to hysteria. Say no to tribalism. Say no to shutting people up for any reason. You know, just say no to all the dumb ideas and just open your ears and just listen to people.
Yeah.
And trust me, I'm wrong.
Yeah, I'm
about
willing to.
so much.
I'm willing to admit that too. I think that's what people like when I put an idea out on Facebook. They think that's how I'm going to think for the rest of my life. No, I'm there. Like share an idea. Like I say thank you to people when they contradict me or when they prove me wrong. I say thank you. I'm not going to look stupid as much.
But just as like a small example, and I don't know how much you want to talk more about this, but like if you look at dieting, right?
Yes.
And eating food and nutrients and all this type of stuff, it's an ongoing thing that we're all trying to figure out. Nobody knows if veganism is healthier than paleo and eating a big breakfast and working out twice a day or once a week. It's just a very, very complicated organic thing and being a person. So when you say I'm a vegan or I'm a pescatarian or whatever, okay, for now, until you change or until you grow. And some people are vegan their whole lives and they live to be 100 and everything's fine. Other people aren't. You know, so people just have to kind of embrace the variety in people's philosophy, people's worldview, whatever you want to call it. Just let people fuck off and leave people alone. That's what I'm saying. And like, if you
I
impose,
don't think you can say both.
well, yeah,
I mean, you kind of contradicted yourself, but I understand what you're saying.
yeah, but just like,
Yeah.
don't tell other people how to think. Just say, this is how I think. This is how I act. This is my diet. Works for me, but it might not work for you. But like, people should just focus on yourself more. Focus on treating people right on a macro level and a micro level also. You know, just don't be a dick. Like, it's not complicated.
Well, I'm going to bring up something one of our good buddies said, Omar, right?
Yeah.
This is one of the great things that, like, Omar said this, and I couldn't unthink it anymore.
Okay.
But he said if we had less diversity, it would be better. And I'm like, man, you know, like, how do you, what? You know, if we had less diversity, things would be better. The thing is, if we were in a discussion and we were sharing the best methods for everything, that's the thing. You got to be willing to share the best methods for everything.
Yeah.
And what I always brought out was my cell phone, which I don't have in front of me, but I brought out a smartphone. It's like, how many people have smartphones? You go down the street, who's got a smartphone? Who's holding it? Essentially, that's a culture, and the culture has evolved into smartphones, right? There's way less diversity on phones because having a smartphone is essentially the way to go.
Yeah.
And there's a less diverse community of cell phone users using smartphones because we found a great way to utilize this tool.
It kind of streamlines everything, in other words, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like we kind of have to give each other, we have to like lend each other our ideas. You have to listen to them, and we could streamline all this diversity, take the best things from a lot of this diversity, and shrink them into something streamlined that works for everybody.
Yeah.
That's
It's the truth. I mean, something I'll bring up, which is a very long conversation, but I'll just bring it up as a concept.
another podcast, maybe.
Another podcast. But this is a problem that exists, that there is no solution in sight. The way we deal with garbage as a country and as a world, whatever, is one of the most frustrating things in my life. and it's kind of like you have a diverse amount of garbage that you have to deal with. You have plastic, you have newspapers, you have steel, whatever it is. And we don't know what to do with all this garbage all around us, so we just throw it all in the garbage. And the garbage man deals with it. We never see it again. You know what I mean? And that's what makes everything so fucked up, because like it's kind of if everything was plastic, we just throw all the plastic out and then we'd recycle it and we'd make use of it. But like when you have the diversity of garbage,
Oh yeah.
you don't know what to do with any of this stuff anymore. So the internet is like a big goddamn landfill.
It's all garbage.
It's all just garbage everywhere. We don't know what to do with it. Like it's like what do I do? How do I what's my identity? What do I do with my life? And I'm with this and that. But it just becomes this thing where everybody's just lost in a landfill.
Yeah.
We're just like, what do we do? I don't even know. But streamline everything. Just make it work a little bit. And like the garbage thing it's as a metaphor it works, but also just as a practical problem. What the fuck are we gonna do with all this plastic and garbage and nonsense going on right now? Because we don't have a plan. We're just winging it.
So let me bring this full circle.
Yep.
I'm going to bring this full circle. I'm going to bring it back, right?
Yep.
We have all this garbage to deal with, right? Which means we have all this communication to deal with as well. Alex Jones was in that communication. There's bad ideas. There's good ideas. There's wonderful ideas. There's horrible ideas. Like that's all. Like in the garbage there, I'm sure they're throwing out the bad things to keep the good things, right?
Yeah.
And so we kind of need to know what's bad in order to know what's good. So to bring this full circle on the censorship issue now. Essentially, the censorship issue is preventing a discussion, which we just had. Like, how do you have discussions with people?
Yeah.
And so I want to read a post from Jeremy.
Sure. Go ahead.
Jeremy, you know who you are. I'm just going to read your post because out of the 45, 50 comments I got on here, he finally got to the root of the problem.
Our friend Jeremy?
Yes.
I love Jeremy.
All right, so here we go. He talked about Alex Jones, too. So I'm just going to start reading it. And the context should show up. Not only that, but in the instance with Alex Jones, you have 3 companies with a coordinated effort to silence a particular individual. I hate Alex Jones with a passion, but this is scary. Who's next? What ideas will be suppressed? This isn't the Waffle House or McDonald's making these moves. These are incredibly influential social media platforms. This is where a majority of the population gets their news and information from, and they have all control over what we see and hear. I wouldn't say all, but they have a lot of control. It won't bother particular political affiliates until something they believe in is squashed. Let's say all man-made global warming information is removed. That's a good point.
Yeah.
That will cause a huge uproar within these particular communities that are advocating company rights over individual expression in regards to having people or information removed. I bet it suddenly becomes an issue then. So there's a lot there. You know, you can't really piece together things on Facebook, but he is really onto something. It's scary. This is the outlet. If you want to talk to people and your idea goes viral, because if people like your idea, it can get spread around. And if you just squash it and it never gets around, and is never allowed to be discussed, you have something very dangerous.
Do you know what the sad truth is?
What?
Alex Jones is going to get way more popular now.
Oh, I think that's actually a good thing.
But
I welcome it.
No, but I don't, like I said, I'm 50-50 with Alex Jones. Like I'm not defending him or condemning him or anything. But as a rule of thumb, like if you censor someone like Alex Jones, he just validated his whole life. He just said, they're after me, they're censoring me, they want me to go away. I'm not going to go away. I'm going to fight. You know. So now he's like supercharged now, and everybody's shifting from YouTube to Infowars.com, and now he has his gigantic audience just became bigger, and it's totally counterproductive to do all that stuff.
Well, Mike, I think we should end on that.
Sure.
So I want you to give me a verdict, okay? A verdict with an explanation. I'll give you the verdict with the explanation. I was trying to give people a yes or no. I wanted a yes or no online. I love one of my friends, Jennifer. She goes, no. Period. Like, she actually got it. She said, no, period. But I was trying to get a yes or a no, and everybody had to explain themselves. So I'm going to give you the yes or no, and then give you your little final statement on how to explain yourself. So we go back to should. This is a should, okay? Not would or what the things are right now.
Yeah.
Should social networking and communication platforms censor speech?
Yes. But don't come complaining to me when it backfires.
I forgot to move the camera.
I'm going to say that line again.
Say it again with your serious face.
Yes, but don't complain to me when it backfires. When the thing you're trying to censor becomes larger than you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's usually that's kind of what's gonna happen with the internet right now. I mean, you just need the bandwidth, and Infowars can be just as big as anything else.
God, can you imagine Infowars book?
Yeah. No, but like it's the truth. Like
Yeah.
and people. And first off, like young people right now, I'm kind of interested. Like under 25, whatever it is. College kids especially, I can only imagine 'cause they didn't know what it was like without the internet. You know,
Yeah.
it's kind of a weird thing. But how are they going to respond? Like the punk rocker mentality is like being a Republican right now. You know, it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing.
Man, I never thought I'd see the day, man.
No, but it's kind of the truth. Like these giant corporations are censoring Alex Jones. Like, I want to be censored. You know, like
you're right.
You know, like I want to be
You're
I want to
right.
be anti-establishment, and like so a lot of like young people right now are gonna just gradually lean towards the right because like that's where the troublemakers are
That's
now.
where the rebellion
That's where the
is.
rebellion is. Like you don't want to be the boring mainstream fucking granola. I'm gonna stop talking.
Stop.
But you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like I think it's another one of the I guess blowback of this kind of stuff is like people are gonna find the right wing appealing now. So like the whole theory of what you're doing is biting yourself in the ass now. Like
I think we should find a whole new direction. There's left and right. Let's find a whole other
no,
direction.
but that's kind of what I want to do with what we're doing here. Like just be centrist for now.
Yes.
For now, not in everything. There's some things that you have to just put your foot down on something, but just start in the middle. Start with just like the basic, golden rule concept, and then branch out from there. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be consistent, but you try. You try to be not crazy. Try not to be Alex Jones crazy or Michael Moore crazy. Just be in the middle where it's just like bring people together and just talk about things. And when you talk and you kind of freestyle and you rant, figure out, I was wrong about this. I was really wrong, and I'm sorry.
Gotcha.
Can I move on with something? Okay, I apologize about that. But the great idea I got from my shitty idea, now that works for me.
All right. Let me put in my verdict here.
Sure,
I'm gonna
sure.
just read this
So
one
the
more
same
time.
question to you.
Yeah. Should social networking and communication platforms censor speech? It should, right? I would say they shouldn't,
Okay.
but they're allowed to. So I would say, God,
Yeah, it's
I'm
tricky.
catching myself, and it's like they should, but I know that they don't have to.
Yeah.
So, and in general, and essentially, I would put it to the public, the people that are utilizing these platforms. It's up to us to choose to be censored. But there's no social networking platform saying we're not going to censor shit. So there's no place to migrate to.
Yeah.
So I think they're allowed to. I don't think right now because they're so big and there's no regulation. Like it's a tool for speech and communication. They shouldn't. So I'm saying no. But if there was competition, let's say to Facebook, and it was a free speech platform, let's say
MySpace. It's coming back strong.
if it was a free speech platform, then the profitability would go down. If people really wanted to talk, then these platforms, their profitability would go down because free speech is more profitable.
Well,
Right?
something else to think about, and I think I want to kind of wrap this up soon, so
Yeah.
I won't go too far. But something I've just observed about people and the media that they consume and everything is sometimes people watch something to feel bad, and sometimes people watch something to feel good. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
See,
I've kind of been there.
yeah, but like I've been there too. Like I'm in a bad mood. Let's play some Slipknot. Let's get in a bad mood. Like, but you know what I mean?
I just read world news.
No, but I mean, it's one of those things where if you take like maybe like American Sniper is a good example. Like that was a controversial movie when it came out, and it kind of made some people feel good and some people feel bad, and they watched it for different reasons. If that makes any sense at all.
Yeah.
But I mean, people aren't gonna watch something that challenges their worldview a lot of times.
Yeah, you're right. Like
They're not gonna do it.
we don't have the time.
Like I'm not gonna. I want you to tell me exactly what I want to hear because I'm addicted to that feeling.
Yeah. We don't like we're too busy working. Like we can't even participate in our own lives.
Yeah.
Because like we have to work so much, and if you're not working so much, then you're trying to relax, and when you're trying to relax, you don't want to get a different view bashed into your head. Like on Sundays, people are just trying to go to church.
Or
You know?
watch football or
Yeah.
something like. And that's why the football thing. Not gonna talk about that, but
No.
that's why that was so controversial because like I just want to watch football. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
And they're not being left alone. We have to talk about politics and
Yeah,
football now,
we
which
gotta
drives
figure
people
this out.
crazy. But I mean, going back to kind of what I was saying, people don't want to watch something and then they have to change their life.
Oof.
They're on a trajectory. They made an emotional investment in being a Marxist or a Christian or whatever. But I know,
Throwing out big words, man.
I know. But people are kind of on the path. Like, this is who I am. This is my identity. And they only will, not only, but most of the time they'd watch something that just kind of confirms what they're already going to do, and that gives them strength. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, like, people watch Infowars.com because they want Alex to tell them about whatever.
Yes, I'm guilty.
Yeah.
Alex, tell me what's going on,
crazy
Alex. Shit, Alex.
Like, I want that feeling of, like, fuck yeah, they're coming. We got to get ready.
There's aliens. I want to know there's aliens. Alex, find the aliens, please.
But you're essentially giving him, like, an order at a restaurant. Like, I want paranoia, and I would like some aggression and a rant or two. Oh, do you have any extreme paranoia and supernatural? Yeah, give me one of those as well.
I really... Transdimensional, please.
Yeah, transdimensional
affairs.
Yeah, give me one of those also. Give me two. Everybody wants the same thing.
Okay.
Let's just do it all around. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's going on right now. And the left is just as guilty because they're just like, they want to just hear about the patriarchy and how awful it is. Fill in my menu. I want to hear about the patriarchy, how terrible it is. I want to hear about capitalism, how awful it is.
Slow down, Mike.
You know,
let's calm down.
But like that's what I'll close with. People just want to hear what they already know.
And you know what? There's a lot of people that want to hear what they already know. But then there's a lot of people like you and I. This whole podcast thing is turning into, like, I mentioned podcasts the other day, and it, like, faith in humanity restored because a lot of people were sharing their podcasts with me.
Sure.
They're like, I listen to this, I listen to that, and I really love that a lot of it was nonfiction. It's what's happening. It's a new view. So yes, I think our media, our mainstream media, and what's being projected, and this is the problem, the new ideas are being censored or suppressed or not as big or not being allowed to grow.
Yeah.
But we're being drawn to it. Like I say, like, there are people that are seeking new information. And it's almost like Alex, Alex will figure out some shit. It's crazy, but he's been right. That's the problem. Yeah. And so it's
if he was wrong all the time,
lock him down.
If he was wrong all the time, you wouldn't even hear his name anymore.
No,
he'd be just relevant.
He'd be the Inquirer.
Perfect example. This is total fringe shit. David Icke. Have you heard of David Icke in the past 5-10 years? If you look at David Icke, he was a conspiracy theorist who actually believed in reptiles. Like, no bullshit. Like, he was one of those guys, like UFOs.
Anunnaki.
Yeah, like all that stuff. He was really into that. And he was kind of big for a couple of years where he would, like, sell at arenas, but you don't really hear from him too much. And I think I could talk to David Icke because I think he's an interesting person, and he's probably right about a couple of things here and there.
Yeah.
But the crazy just made him irrelevant because he was so wrong about some things where you're like, I can't take this guy seriously anymore. And he became kind of off the beaten path a little bit. And I would love to hear from him again. I would love to hear him podcast with Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
It'd be so interesting because here's a guy who you have to just admit there's no such thing as a reptilian conspiracy. For real. Just come on. Say it. Okay, now we can move on to other things, you know? But he was just so caught up in that crazy fringe worldview that he just became completely irrelevant, you know? Alex Jones is not that guy because he's right about a good amount of things.
I mean, like that, I'm telling you, he put me on what establishment politics were.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing. If people learn what establishment politics are and other things that it could be called, we can think better because we know what we're kind of up against.
Yeah.
I can't knock him for that. I can't knock him for the left-right paradigm either.
Yeah.
Like we're the left and the right are at war with each other while the people that are in charge just laugh at us. I can't knock him for that either.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I can keep talking for another 4 hours. You want to keep going, or you want to?
No, we'll wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up.
So we both said yes, they're allowed to censor, right? Should they censor?
Well, that's a different question.
Okay, new question.
Okay.
Are they allowed to censor, Mike?
Yes, they're allowed to censor.
Should they censor, Mike?
Absolutely not.
That's what I wanted to get at.
Yeah.
I was like, they shouldn't censor because it's a public forum with the public invited. They shouldn't. And
but let me actually backtrack a little bit. I mean, I don't think they should censor political viewpoints, but you do censor like violence and sexuality and everything on YouTube. There are certain guidelines you have to, like, you can't put, whatever, an act of a beheading on YouTube because they'll censor it. They'll get rid of it.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about that kind of stuff. We're talking about ideas.
But that's in a public forum. See, like in the public forum, you can't do that. You can't. So that your point is valid because you cannot do that in public. People get arrested. You're not supposed to expose yourself, right?
Yeah.
So like when you go to a website that has porn and stuff on it, that's essentially a private website. You're looking at private things. You understand that relationship with you and the website when you get there. But if you're a public forum for communication and ideas, you have to mimic the public. I feel you should.
But to kind of stand up for
Give me the
YouTube-
counter. Give me the counter. Go ahead.
But to kind of stand up for YouTube
Yeah.
a little bit, Alex Jones, he probably has already. I can't keep track of everything. I'm sorry, but he probably admitted that he was wrong. That Sandy Hook was a false flag and all this stuff. Like if he hasn't already, he needs to just like, dude, you have to just not say that kind of shit because it. First off, it defeats the purpose of what you're trying to do here, which is tell the truth. When you make shit up based on no evidence, any good idea you have is out the window at this point. You know what I mean?
That was his biggest. I don't want to get into the Alex Jones issue too much, but
But that's the catalyst to all
he
this
was
stuff.
giving evidence, which was the doxing, which was
Yeah.
threatening people.
Which you can't do.
That's a whole different
I mean, but
discussion.
he should be taken to court for some of this stuff, and you pay the fine, you do the time, whatever it is. But once that's over, you have freedom now. You get your freedom back because you paid the fine. Like you can't say certain things. It's illegal to do some of these things.
Yeah, like,
So it's like a new legal system we have to figure out in the age of the internet,
Man, see, well,
which is
you
very
gotta,
complicated.
You got to stop right there because that's the regulation. So if the government can now, like, let's say the government's the good guy, right? And they go to Facebook.
Let's not get crazy, all right? Go ahead.
Okay, there's an aspect of good in the government. The government shows up, and the government's like, listen, you're hosting a public forum.
Mm-hmm.
You have to allow public thoughts and public communication, right? That would be like a good thing the government does. But the private networks don't want that because they want to be as profitable as possible. So if someone goes crazy or someone really turns you off to a platform, and the thing is, the public sometimes is so stupid. Like they think that Twitter is condoning racism or violence or something when it's not even their idea. But the fact that they let it exist on their private platform is what gets struck against them. So if people were just like smarter and you could make that distinction, I don't think they would be censoring. But you're kind of catering to not the. I don't want to say.
I know. I mean, I think you're onto something in the sense that at the end of the day, this is about money.
Yeah.
Let's get real here. This is about Alex Jones has more profit, and I don't know what the word is. More.
He hurt their profitability by being that wacky and threatening for once, right? And that he hurt their profitability.
Yeah, I mean, it's
like
sucks.
you can't have Alex Jones on your platform, and people are going to turn the platform off because he said this.
And look, here's the deal. I'm not going to lie to anyone. TV is unwatchable right now. Unwatchable. I can't turn the television on, and I get upset after like 5 minutes. Does that make sense? Like 5 minutes of a TV show. Like I haven't watched NBC or CBS in 20 years. Like I couldn't tell you the last time I watched a sitcom on like CBS. Maybe Modern Family was the last one. But I can't sit down on a couch and turn the TV on and like cycle through the channels. Are you out of your fucking mind?
I can't.
It's undoable right now. And I think the media companies know this. They're like, who the fuck is gonna watch? Like it hurts your brain. There's 20,000 channels and like, oh my god, it's just like nauseating. But I could watch a podcast for 3 hours.
Have you listened to radio recently, like morning radio?
Not really. I couldn't tell you.
Dude, I cannot take it when it's like it's all laughing, right? It's like trying to laugh because like everybody's miserable in the morning going to work. Like, when's the last time you held the door for someone and they didn't say thank you? Give us a call.
Yeah.
Like it's
no,
just
but that's
circus.
That's all psychological programming because they're trying to make people addicted to the good feeling of watching their AM whatever. But like I'll go back. A 3-hour podcast is more engaging right now than a 20-minute TV show on CBS or NBC or whatever. It's unwatchable.
I think I'm going to bring up the point you were making the other day. Right now, a lot of people are craving authenticity.
Absolutely.
And like the tribalism and the diversity, like the authenticity is within your group, and you feel something good within the like little tribal group.
Yeah.
But if more people kind of crossed those diverse lines, they put their ideas together, or they tried to figure some stuff out. Like, don't go to violence. Just calm down, hear it out. Maybe someone has a bad impression, whatever the case may be. But like, just this whole diverse thing. If people just calm down and listen to each other, and be authentic, Like
Yeah.
authentically, like, I'm gonna listen to you because that's what I do. I tried. I haven't talked to somebody in California for years. I'm like, dude, I'll call you on the phone. Let's talk this out. Prove me wrong.
Yeah.
Like I want to hear it. If people are craving authenticity, then be authentic with the people around you. The people, that, especially the people that you have access to.
Just tell the truth.
Yeah.
More Jordan Peterson stuff. Just tell the truth where you see it. I love that guy because he has so much common sense advice
Yeah.
that people aren't. It's like we forgot how to be normal. Like Jordan Peterson has some very basic advice to people because he was a clinical psychologist for all that time. He knows what he's talking about.
He's got a lot of ammunition. He's got a lot
so
of
much to
good
talk about,
ammunition,
some good ammo. And the thing is, he's not the end of the argument. He's the start of the of the discussion.
Very true. That's it.
That's where you start.
A discussion.
And the wonderful thing about that guy is, in 5 years from now, like when he only got big like 2 years ago, whatever it was, but like 5 years from when he first started, he's going to be hopefully he's going to be a totally different person because he's going to learn from everything he talked about. Talking to Sam Harris, they're having that come out soon.
Yeah.
I'm really interested to watch that because you have two titans, just
intellectual titans,
just talking about things, and I'm sure that at the end of it, both of them were just kind of shifted a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's where evolution comes in. I mean, with anything,
they reduce their own, like they're in their tribes and they have these, and it's good when they're like intelligent people, right? Because when intelligent people come together and they sort things out, you're going to get something better at the end of that.
Yeah,
you
but
have to. It's inevitable.
But here's the thing. Sam Harris and Jordan Peterson talking to each other is the opposite of censorship because they're just talking.
Yeah.
Imagine if they censored that video that came out. Any Jordan Peterson video is taken away from YouTube.
Oh, no.
That would be like, guys, come on.
He's a gift right now. Like, he really is a gift.
But that is very possible. That could be the next person censored by YouTube is Jordan Peterson.
But I'm willing to listen to anyone that says he's not a gift.
Yeah.
I'll listen to people that say he's like this terrible thing, which he gets.
But have you seen the videos of the college kids pounding on the windows?
Dude,
that is a nightmare situation because nobody deserves that kind of treatment. But Jordan Peterson, of all people, you're gonna treat him like he's a fucking Nazi. You're out of your minds, guys.
Misunderstanding. They need to listen.
You're driving people to the right. That's all you're doing. It sucks.
All right, Mike. I think we should.
Let's end it there,
right?
Yeah.
So we talked about censorship. We talked about people and their communication. They should be more open because these social networks are communication platforms. So if you're going to communicate, you have to also listen. So this is a very broad topic. It's a good one to start on. I'm glad we did. So
absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to keep doing this. Jason, that's Mike over there, and just follow whatever. I didn't set up all the social networking and ways to hook into this podcast, but we're just going to figure this out together. That's the goal, right, Mike? We're just going to figure out
how wrong I am.
What's going on, and we're willing to be wrong. So with that said, everybody, thank you for watching.